listening to Cricket World Radio.
And this is Cricket World Around the World. You're listening to Cricket World Radio. This is Cricket World Around the World. I'm John Pennington. I'm joined by Jim White. Hello, Jim.
John, hello there.
We're going to be discussing some of the big issues in the game this week, and we've got some brilliant interviews lined up for you as well. Jitan Patel, Kumar Sangakkara, Niall O'Brien and Andrew Hall. So it really is, we are almost going around the world. But Jim, we saw possibly one of the most incredible games of cricket this week. England beating Sri Lanka almost from nowhere at Cardiff. What were your sort of take on that incredible finish?
Well, a lot has been said about Cardiff, JP, on the circuit, bringing it in for its first Test match last year, in the stunning draw, of course, with Jimmy Anderson and Monty Panesar blocking out for a famous draw, which really set the tone, actually, I think, for the Ashes series. And once again, Cardiff comes to the fore. It was raining. There was golf being played. There was football being played in the area. Were the crowds going to turn up? Yes and no. And a lot of people didn't bother to stay to watch the end of a Test match. I was listening to someone speaking last night saying that when he was a youngster, his dad said, right, let's leave early and beat the traffic. Well, if you do that, you're going to miss. Just an unbelievable finish to a Test match. I think England are at a stage now where this will give them a lot of self-belief. And there's a lot of times that people will turn up to a game, it looks like it's going to be a draw. Now, if you assume that, it probably will be a draw, shake hands at tea time, everyone's really unhappy and go home. This shows why people should stay to the end of a Test match. And interestingly, was actually talking to Arjuna Ranatunga yesterday, and his comment was that Sri Lanka were already talking about 2020 cricket, picking their team. They'd already settled for a draw, didn't even turn up until after lunch. So suffice to say, their preparations may not have been ideal, and maybe it wasn't a surprise when England were firing on all cylinders, seam and spin in tandem. And once you're on a roll, sometimes, the batsman walking out to bat, how long are they going to last? Well, not long, because once the plug's been taken out of the hole, it's just a complete whirlwind of going down the pan. Now,
you said firing on all cylinders there, Jim, but England weren't firing on all cylinders, of course, because they didn't have James Anderson. Stuart Broad was not at his best until he finished the game off, so really, they bowled Sri Lanka out with Chris Tremlett and Graham Swan.
Yeah, England were firing all cylinders. I didn't say who the cylinders were, but I'll take your point. This is the quality England do have now. Chris Tremlett kind of came of age, I think, in Australia. He'd had a bit of a dabble, as had Swan previously, sort of in one-day internationals. And would he step up to the mark? Stuart Broad's not there with the new ball. What do you do? Well, 6'7", Chris Tremlett really, I think his move to Surrey has given him a new lease of life, and playing on better on different wickets, should I say, at the Oval there. And as you say, all right, wasn't possibly what would be seen as the A-grade attack, but quality. And that's what it was. It was, again, a good combination of tall, bang it in, go after the other bowler, and both he and Swanee picked up 4 wickets each, very, very well earned. And I think once Andrew Strauss started to turn the screw, no matter who was bowling, to be fair, in the top 4, top 6 of the English team, they were bound to take wickets.
England responded to James Anderson's injury by first calling up Stephen Finn and Jay Dernbach. That's a surprise to a few people, but he did take wickets for the Lions against Sri Lanka earlier on in the tour, and eventually they went with Finn for the second test. That to me wasn't a great surprise. He knows Lord well. He's a Middlesex player, and that to me was no surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the call up of Dernbach is one that just lets people know that he's in the thinking. Good to be around the squad. As you say, he's picked up wickets in the Lions game, so again, he's familiar with bowling with these players. It gives those that are also trying to make the grade from academy, or should I say Lions, should I say, up to the full squad, the information that yes, there is a space for you. If people aren't performing, watch this space for maybe another cricketer who may not be selected for the next test. That's my personal opinion, John, as you well know. No surprise who that's going to be. He's a batsman. But Stephen Finn, a good choice. He also, to be fair, performed well in Australia, and I think, again, he is the right man to step into that, because to overlook him and play Dernbach would seem a little bit odd at this stage. But good luck Stephen Finn. Another tall bowler. I'm not too sure how well the Sri Lankans will play the sort of the shorter delivery. Him and Tremlett, crikey, tallest attack we've had for a number of years, I'm sure.
I should think it is. Now let's just switch formats completely from Test match to 2020 and to the Indian Premier League. concluded over the last weekend. Chennai Super Kings retaining their title. What did you make of the way they played, I suppose, throughout the tournament, and particularly in the final? I mean, beating the Royal Challengers Bangalore by 58 runs, that's no mean achievement.
Is it over? I thought they're still playing, John. Sorry, I mean, there's been a lot of 2020 cricket. We're into 2020 domestic cricket in England now, so it's 2020 mad, isn't it? Yeah, it was not predictable, but it was going to be a big ask to beat Challengers Bangalore, who were top of the table, had played the more consistent cricket. But, Chennai, MS Dhoni, it was either going to be him or Tendulkar. And this time it was Dhoni coming out on top. So, yeah, I mean, great to see that. I hope that both the IPL and World 2020 take note of how long tournaments are these days, because I really hope it doesn't ruin it for future series of any format to come. I think there's a lot to be said about the amount of cricket and structure and integrating it. As we know, because of the IPL, you mentioned Sri Lanka earlier, some of the players aren't here, or they're choosing to play in that and not at all in a test series, which really I'm sure most people will probably agree, is still the pinnacle of cricket around the world.
Just want to get your opinion on a couple of high-profile news stories, Jim. Two players that have been in the news this week. Sahir Afridi, it's a bit of a sorry situation. He's retired again from international cricket, not getting on very well with the Pakistan Cricket Board, who have responded by saying, well, that's it, you're not going to play any cricket anywhere almost. What have you made of that, as a Hampshire aficionado as well?
Well, thanks for that, John, yes. Yeah, it's a shame because, Hampshire as a county are trying to push forward, I know, with a number of developments in the game. First test match this year, overseas signings, and brought into the idea of making the game attractive to families and hence high-profile signings. Afridi would have been brilliant, because I think he fit into the Hampshire mould. It's exciting, likes to play the game with bat and ball. And it was announced he'll be coming. Fantastic, everybody's really happy. Now he's not. It's a bit of a mess, really, with the PCB and him. Someone's thrown their toys out of the cupboard and stamped their foot and gone to sulk in a corner somewhere. And
they'll be having a disciplinary hearing, I understand, on the 8th of June.
What, for me? Or for Afridi?
No, for Afridi with a PCB, so, really try to get to the bottom of who is in the wrong here.
Exactly. I mean, he's not the only, international cricketer who's had a problem with their board. It needs to be sorted out, because what we're losing here, of course, is quality players playing quality cricket. He is such, or when he was playing, even recently, he's a complete catalyst, if you can have one of those, for the Pakistan team. They live off his exuberance, they live off his showmanship. He's like Freddie and others rolled into one. People like that, and people identify with it, and that's why people support their nation at cricket. Fantastic supporters, want the best for their team. They've been through so many troubles in the last few years. It will be asked to start playing regular cricket, regular test series abroad, and I believe there's also a home series coming up soon, first one in a number of years, possibly. So it's being looked into. They're trying to move forward, and to have problems with individual players, particularly as high profile as Sahir Afridi, won't help situations. So the sooner it's sorted out, the better. Move on, and hopefully he'll be playing in Hampshire's next home game.
Let's hope so. Well, moving on, just want to talk about Jonathan Trott, because he's been criticised in various areas. Twitter has been a buzz this week. Cricket_world, by the way, is our handle. With always batting too slowly, is he the right man for number 3? And then, of course, the ECB Awards, Cricketer of the Year, decided by the British press. Jonathan Trott, Man of the Year. How do you sort of square that one off? Well,
obviously, the people that are saying he's too slow are not the people that voted for him.
Well, probably not. But
or else they did, and are just being hypocritical. Jonathan Trott is, if Boycott says he's batting slowly, then something's coming out of that. I think the fact that people are reasonably envious of the fact that he has got his own technique and he's happy to go with that. He's a very classic player like Ian Bell. Why not? Let him get on with it. I'm happy if he keeps scoring 200, let him play. You need the stability. You can play around that. Yes, he may need to maybe up his tempo sometimes, but you can work on that. You can, one-day cricket, which he has done very well for Warwickshire.
England.
And England as well. He can step up the pace. I think there is a mentality here when he's playing test matches, looking all around him. There are players who are not as consistent as he is. He needs to do this, and I'm more than happy with him to go with this. And just to give it a link, an insight into his preparations, I was with Gladstone Small yesterday, who went to the PCA Awards dinner the other evening, and Jonathan Trott's name came up, and he said, I was at watching 2 days before the test match. At 5:30 in the afternoon, there's a guy batting in the nets, and it was Jonathan Trott, scratching his scratch as he does. He was doing some shadow batting. He was still there at 5:30. Obviously, not what Gladstone did with 2 days ago in a Test match at 5:30 in the afternoon. I think his comment was he'd have been at lunch for 4 hours by then, but that's a different matter. So Jonathan Trott, he's committed to what he's doing, and good luck to him. I mean, the more he carries on scoring 200s, the better place England will be, because they'll have runs on the board, and then the bowlers have got a target to bowl at. So yeah, keep going.
Good stuff. So what we've learnt there is that 4-hour lunches don't necessarily make the makings of a great team. Discuss.
The point is, Johnny was playing in a different era.
Indeed.
But certainly when certain names like Botham, Small and Lamb come into it, I think you've got to, cricket was played in a different way back then.
Different way, different era. No 2020 back then, and we're into the 2020 period of the season now in England. It's underway. We've seen some big hitting. We've already seen our first tie, Lancashire tying with Derbyshire. Hampshire winning their first game to get to 0 points, of course, after a points deduction from last year. But we've been catching up with a few players as well, haven't we, Jim, this week?
We have, John, and thank you for mentioning the Hampshire win, as I know you were backing Somerset to win that. But a repeat of last year's final, well done in that instance. It's been every year we have this, county championship cricket, the Friends Live
T20
get it right now, T20 and also the CB40. There's such a mixture of cricket, and we're now in the 2020 season. As you mentioned, I was over at Edgbaston the other day. Fantastic new stand, which it really sits in well with what's happening in the community of Birmingham and the surrounding areas. Spoke to the chief executive, amongst others. They have set their stall out, £33 million construction, but it's going to be brilliant for cricket. I interviewed quite a few cricketers over there. I'm watching them hitting the ball into the third tier. And Jim Troughton was saying that we were aiming at the media section, so I was a little bit concerned. However, we also managed to catch up with initially Chetan Patel. And here's what he had to say. Jason, here we are. It's your second visit now to Warwickshire. You just mentioned there a few years ago some changes behind you here. It's all exciting stuff, isn't it?
I mean, other than obviously the big building, nothing else has changed really. But it's exciting for Edgbaston, for Warwickshire, for England cricket to be able to have a stadium, I suppose, as good and as nice as that.
The team's obviously looking to perform this year in all forms of cricket. We're coming up to 2020 time again. It's just exciting times for all cricket, really, isn't it? All cricket fans around the world. Yeah,
it just becomes helter-skelter. I mean, the guys are obviously really excited about the 2020 format. I think any player in the world is excited about playing 2020. Not just because of the prize money at the end of it, but also, it's such a fun game, and 3 hours of in and out, get your job done, and you're done and dusted.
And have you been enjoying sort of your recent play? Do you feel you're playing to your potential at the moment, or is it still a lot to come from yourself?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to come. I took a couple of steps back last season just with changing a few action things, and I feel great again. I feel like I'm excited, and I feel like that 20-year-old that I want to be when I'm playing cricket. But no, I'm excited about being back at the Bears, and I'm excited about performing for them.
And of course, been playing for New Zealand as well more recently. How's that been going in your own mind?
Oh, I mean, personally, I haven't played recently, but I'd like to play more games, but be more involved in terms of trying to win more games for New Zealand. I think that's the biggest thing. As any player, you want to win games, and you want to win Test matches, ODI tournaments, and that's the big thing for every player. But that's what I want to get back to, and I think I've got a lot more to offer in that sense.
We mentioned here, just talking earlier about the gap between playing county cricket up to international cricket. You've done all that. There is a mindset, or is it just a case of having to have the ability to be able to step up a gear?
It's both, I think. I think it's the ability as well as the mindset, just being able to, disband yourself from the crowd and the excitement of international cricket, but also be able to put yourself in the mode of facing the best bowlers in the world, or bowling to the best batters in the world, and also being able to take catches and enforce runouts that shouldn't otherwise happen in a game of cricket. But there is, like I said, a step up in both aspects of the game, and physically it's just about application. I think mentally it's about trying to get better.
I've seen recent Dan Vittoria's been doing pretty well in the IPL as well, so more cricket all over the place. I mean, is there too much, do you think, or is it just a great time to be involved in the sport?
I think it's a great time to be involved. I mean, a lot of players would say that there's a lot of cricket, too much cricket going on, but I also think that they're involved in a lot of cricket. They can say no if they don't want to play, but I think it's great that there's cricket on TV all the time and all year round, so a lot of players can sell themselves all over the world.
And of course, having played on the international scene, when you come to play for a county like this with young players who are aspiring to play international cricket, good to work with them as well and to try and bring them on.
Yeah, it is great. It's great to have a bunch of guys who really want to further their cricket, and for that and to see them 2 years after being here and seeing how much they've improved is exciting for me, because you just see guys that want to play cricket and want to play for their country.
And just last thing, have you had a go at trying to pop one halfway up the stands yet?
No, not yet. I think that's to come this afternoon, but I'm hoping to be able to get some hitting practice done, because I haven't been outside for a while, so it'll be good to get some good training done outside.
Fantastic. Listen, we'll leave you to it, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Thank you.
And he'd only really just stepped off the plane, so we did pretty well to get hold of him.
Absolutely. He was a little bit bleary-eyed. He reckoned he was going to be sleeping in about 3 hours' time, because his second stint at Warwick, as he was saying, and great to be back. He knows the guys very well. And, you know, his mixture of experience, international cricketer, young guys coming through, yeah, they've got good times ahead of them.
And you can see the other interviews on the website as well. Jim Troughton and Chris Wokes, who's obviously talking about his comeback from injury. Now, I also took it upon myself to catch up with a few of the 2020 stars as well. There's a great event, this, a rundown in Northampton, where I caught up with Niall O'Brien and Andrew Hall, actually having a pint with the fans, and they've had such a great start to the season. As you'll hear, I sort of said to them, you won't get any dodgy questions, it'll all be a great evening. I started by asking Niall O'Brien if he was indeed enjoying a pint of Speckled Hen with the fans.
No, I can have a few alcoholic drinks in moderation, the physio said. So looking forward to having a drink of Speckled Hen tonight with the supporters and answering a few tricky questions.
Well, it's a great idea, isn't it, to get closer to them? And I suppose you're not hoping for too many tricky questions. The way your season's gone, I doubt there'll be too many tricky ones out there.
Yeah, there shouldn't be too many stumping questions, but there's always one or two giggles thrown in for good measure. But no, as you said, the season we've had so far, everyone should be pretty happy and pretty content with what we're doing. So it should be a relatively pleasant evening. And to be fair, we're quite close to the supporters anyway, being a kind of small family club and not having a massive stadium as some teams. So we tend to get quite close, and we get to know the fans up close and personal. You
mentioned the injury, Niall. How's the hand, and when are you aiming to get back?
Yeah, the hand is actually very good, to be honest. It's I get hit 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So in that time, it's healed very, very well. I've had 2 scans and it showed a significant improvement. So we're going to go for another scan early next week, and I'm hoping to be ready for the game this day week against Durham at home.
Good stuff. Now, it has, as you say, been an absolutely brilliant start to the season. You yourself have been in very good form before your injury. And what would you put it down to? And do you think you can keep it up throughout the whole season?
Yeah, there's no reason why we can't keep it going. We've got a good squad of players, and the coach and captain are rotating some of the bowlers, which is quite handy. It's nice to have 5 or 6 seam bowlers who are bowling well and in good form, so you can rest a bowler or two when you need to. And thankfully, the batsmen are firing on all cylinders. So there's no real magic recipe as to why we're doing as well this year as opposed to previous season. It's just a collective spirit and a collective will to win. We haven't delivered over the last couple of years on a consistent basis, and we're able to prove people wrong all over the UK. The Northants are a good team and should be here playing county cricket for a long time to come.
Now, attention, of course, is now switching to 2020. You get underway tomorrow. How much do you enjoy it, and how do you think? How do you rate sort of Northampton's chances this year?
Yeah, I love the 2020. Everyone in the dressing room and the Irish team knows I love the cameras being around. I love the big crowd, and the shorter form of the game seems to suit my style of play. Action pack up the stumps, have a bit of chat to the batsman when you're keeping wicket, and try and have a bit of innovation and try and hit a few 4s and 6s over batting. So personally, I love it. It's my favourite part of cricket. I've worked really hard on my skills over the last 3 or 4 years to develop into one of the leading kind of batsmen in the Northants team, and I'd like to think that I've got a good role to play in Northants and on the 2020 cricket, and hopefully moving forward to a possible couple of seasons in India. As for Northampton's progress, since I've been here, we've had 3 quarter-finals and a semi-finalist. So our first aim is to get to finals day. That's first and foremost, and from there we want to win the tournament. There's no reason why we can't do that.
In terms of innovations, 2020 sort of really changed the game, hasn't it? Have you picked up any particular tips or ideas from studying the IPL intently?
Well, I played Indy quite a bit myself. Myself and Andrew Hall played the ICL, which is the alternative league to the IPL. But I've worked on the IPL in my commentary role with ITV4, and I watch it intently. But I'm a big one for individuality, and there's certain shots that I've worked on myself, not necessarily copied anybody. And I'll be looking to bring a few new ones out this summer.
Now, you were in Belfast this weekend for the Ireland-Pakistan one-day international series. A 2-0 series loss on the face of it doesn't look that great, but would you say there were some encouraging signs, particularly the way that Ireland battered and bowled in the second game?
Yeah, I went across to watch the games, and it was very, very disappointing on Saturday. It was a terrible performance, truth be told, with the bat. We bowled there for 96, and not even about 20 overs of your 36 was very, very poor from the boys. But I know they're very disappointed with how they played, and they came back well on Monday, I thought. And Paul Sterling, fantastic 100 for a 20-year-old lad to get 100 by that against a strong, very strong Pakistan bowling lineup was a great achievement. And a little bit disappointed we didn't get 270, 280, but on the whole, 240 was a competitive total. But Pakistan played very, very well, chased down with relative ease, and I thought Pakistan was a very strong effort.
And it must have been very, very encouraging to see the likes of Paul Sterling coming through the ranks and really performing well at a young age. It stands Ireland in good stead for the future.
Yeah, it does. Sterling's he's the best talent to come out of Ireland. That's bar none. Obviously we had great players like Joyce. Obviously Owen Morgan's gone on to great success in England, but I think everyone who's played with and seen this lad Sterling come through, they know that he's the real deal, and everyone in Ireland feels that he's the best player to come out of Ireland, and it's just a matter of him putting the work in and having the right mental approach to his cricket and going from strength to strength and becoming one of the best batsmen in world cricket.
You mentioned Owen Morgan, who's gone from strength to strength, playing for Ireland first, then England. I don't know if you read or heard that Tim Murtagh, the Middlesex fast bowler, has told the BBC he's considering playing for Ireland, so going the other way. Do you think that would boost your team at all?
Yeah, I think Murtagh's a very, very good bowler. He's got me enough times over my 9 years in county cricket, so it'd be nice to play with him rather than against him for a change. He's a very handy cricketer. I heard rumours that he was interested and available to play for Ireland in the near future, so we'll have to kind of see what the chief executive and the coach think about that. But obviously a very, very canny operator for Middlesex, and certainly we'd wear the proud the green jersey with real pride, I'm sure, if you got the chance.
Final question, Niall. I've been informed by a colleague that you're now doing some coaching work as well. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going great. I've set up my own coaching business and my own cricket business, so doing a lot of work at the moment, travelling up and down England. I'm busy in Ireland coaching both individuals, clubs. I'm coaching coaches. Any information can be found on www.nileobrien.cricket.net, and it's going really well. I really enjoy it, and hopefully there's a career, post-career in coaching for me.
Brilliant. We wish you all the best with that, Niall. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the evening. Andrew, thanks very much for joining us. You're enjoying a pint with the fans tonight. Is that something you enjoy doing?
Yeah, definitely. It's really great for us to be able to come out into town and into Northamptonshire and do something like this, where you get to meet the crowd and the fans on a bit more of a social side of things, and it's not just around cricket or cricket related.
I think it's a good thing for the fans. They can really sort of get close to the players and I suppose close to the captain and yourself as well. I think it's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, it's been really good. I did one last year as well, also at the same venue, and we've done really well. Had a great bunch of guys here, had some good questions, had some good chats, and managed to afterwards at the ground see a couple of the fans there as well, and it's really nice to see that the guys, once they've met a couple of guys, they do come round a bit more to the county ground and come and support and watch.
Now, you must be absolutely delighted the way that Northamptonshire are going this season, top of the LV County Championship Division 2, going well in CB40 as well.
Yeah, we spoke a lot about it during the winter months about how we want to start our season off and also what type of brand cricket we want to play and how we want to approach our game. So I'm really, really happy with the way that, the guys have put in a lot of work in the winter months to try and get them as fit and strong as possible, so we don't have to worry about, guys ending up with injuries or guys getting themselves, small niggles, and we can always play quite a strong side. But, on the field, the guys have played exceptionally well. We've always had somebody that's come out to do the business when we needed it, so it's not just one or two players that have made inroads. It's pretty much been a team effort. And, that's been the biggest part for us. We've made a couple of small changes in our approach to the game, and they're really working well for us.
And what about the blend of youth and experience you've got there at the club? You've got obviously the likes of Malloy and Chaminda Vast doing great things, as well as the sort of young players coming through.
Yeah, we've got young Ben Harjigo, we've got Alex Wakely, we got David Murphy, that's still a youngster coming through. Brooksy, all these type of guys that are all coming through, making their way through into playing some really good first-class cricket, which is great. And obviously we've got quite a good senior group of players, from David Sales and Malloy, as you said, Jaminda Vaz, myself, Stephen Peters. The guys are all putting in some great performances. And not just on the field, but also, in small aspects about field placings and about little changes we want to make. The guys have all come up with great ideas during the season that has helped us to achieve, some really good wins and some good results for us. So, from my point of view, just really, really chuffed with the way that the boys are playing, and the effort and the hard work that they've put in, that it's paying off.
And this is your 4th season now with Northants, so again, you must be pretty pleased to sort of be involved with that sort of constant development and constant progression, really.
Yeah, it's something that I've spoken to the guys about from the time when I was here. I said to them, I always want to be, when my time comes that I leave, that I've really done. Northamptonshire, proud, and that also that I've left something behind. You always want to speak about the fact that you've left something behind for the guys to build on, and for something for the guys to take forward. And I'm really happy with the way things are going. We've spent a lot of time, as I said, talking to guys and getting them into good, positive mental frame of minds. And from a captaincy point of view, this has been really great this year, because I think the guys are really starting to grasp, just how well we can actually play and how to put in big performances when it's needed.
Now, moving on to 2020 cricket, because we're into that sort of 2020 period of the season now. You played for South Africa 2020 cricket, played in the ICL, and also for Northamptonshire and other sides. Is it a form of the game you really enjoy?
Yeah, it is a great format of the game. It's quick, it's high-paced, it's entertaining. It's really, crowd pleasers, and that's something that's, really, really enjoyable, because you get big crowds to come and watch, a lot of support, and that's what you want to play on. You want to play in front of big crowds with a lot of support and a lot of noise and atmosphere. Over the last couple of years, I've had some really good successes in this as well, which has helped. But 2020 format, obviously, it's here to stay, and it's been great service for the game of cricket.
And Northants have recently signed your compatriot Johan Botha. What sort of skills does he bring to the table, and how is he going to really boost Northamptonshire's challenge?
Well, yeah, I think if you look at last season, how important Nicky Boyer was for us in our 2020 cricket. So for us to get another spinner, all round, a really, really good batter and an exceptional fielder, is really key for us. We felt that we've got a very good pace and seam attack, and we just needed another spinner. And luckily enough, Johan was available, and really pleased that he's coming to join us. He's a hard-working, very experienced cricketer that I believe we can learn a lot from, and also, I think if we use him correctly, he could be a very big, point in our game.
Good stuff. Well, we hope for Northamptonshire's sake that it all works out for you, and thanks very much for your time today, Andrew, and best of luck.
Pleasure, John. Thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it.
So that was Andrew Hall finishing off there, and before him, Niall O'Brien. Really looking forward to 2020 cricket this summer. Jim, who's going to win?
2020?
Just to put it on the spot.
I'd like to see Hampshire again, but I think it'd be interesting to see Edgbaston, home team. Can Warwickshire do it? Maybe this is the year.
I was almost going to say the same thing, having seen how well they play, particularly against Durham. Very, very impressive. William Porterfield in good form as well. So we're both going for Warwickshire win. How
Crikey.
boring.
That must be a first at this stage of the season.
Let's move on. Thanks very much, Jim, for your time. We're going to finish off today's show with this week's edition of the ICC Radio Show. Again, more interviews here to look forward to. Kumar Sangakkara, former Sri Lankan captain, of course, as well as Dr. Peter Harcourt, who's the chair of the ICC Medical Committee.
Hello and welcome to ICC Cricket World with me, Jatin Sapru. Exciting stuff lined up for you in the next 15 minutes. First, let's check out what's on the show today. We chat with India's leading pacer Sahir Khan, where he talks about exercising ghosts of the previous editions of the World Cup and winning back the Holy Grail and lots more. Also talking to us will be another member of India's World Cup winning squad, Skipper Dhoni's apparent lucky charm, the mercurial Santakumaran Sreesanth. Also on the show today is an exclusive chat with Ian Chappell, who navigates us to Australia's road ahead after finally losing their World Champions title. But first up, it's Gautam Bhimani bringing us the latest happenings in the world of cricket here's presenting our news segment.
Pakistan Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani has said that the ICC Cricket World Cup 2011 semi-final clash between India and Pakistan has acted as a catalyst for improving ties between the two nations. Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had invited his Pakistani counterpart to witness the highly anticipated match in Mohali, which India won by 29 runs. In a reception recently held by Gilani to honour the Pakistan cricket team, he said that it was not a question of winning or losing as much as it was to win the hearts of the people across the border. Praising the Pakistan cricket team's performance in the World Cup, Gilani announced a sum of ₹1 million for each player of the team and 5 lakhs for each of the management staff. Meanwhile, as per an order issued by Sri Lanka's Sports Minister Mahinadananda Althugamage, all Lankan players participating in the IPL have been called back home to train for their upcoming tour of England. Althugamage wants Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardene, Lashit Malinga and others to put country over the lucrative IPL. He also added that in future, Sri Lankan players can only participate in foreign tournaments if it does not hamper their commitments to the national team. The tour, which starts on the 14th of May with a game against Middlesex, comprises of 3 test matches, 5 ODIs and a one-off Twenty20 international. The Islanders are also scheduled to play a one-off ODI each against Ireland and Scotland just a day after their final ODI against England on the 9th of July. And finally, just days after Bangladesh failed to make it to the quarterfinals of the ICC Cricket World Cup, the Bangladesh Cricket Board has decided to part ways with national coach Jamie Siddons. In an official statement, the BCB stated that Siddons' contract, which expires on the 30th of June, will not be renewed. The board also said that the team had done really well in the past 4 years under Siddons, but it was time to bring in some new support staff.
So after a successful stint by Jamie Siddons, it's time for the Bangladesh Cricket Board to find a new ringmaster. But there is someone who's mastered the trade of fast bowling and making batsmen dance to his tunes, Sahir Khan, who played a crucial role in India's World Cup winning campaign. Here is he in a conversation with Sai Prasad Mohapatra, talking of exercising the ghost of the previous editions of the World Cup.
Zach, what would you call it? A poetic justice that the shadow of 2003 World Cup is not going to chase you any longer?
Well, I'm glad that I had that opportunity to change things, but I by no means regret the fact that the 2003 didn't go my way in the finals. But it was a great learning experience. I was much more well prepared for the finals in 2011. I felt very proud when a lot of my teammates and the support staff came up to me and say that Zach, the first 3 men you bowled, that really tightened the screw as far as Sri Lanka's defeat is concerned, and that's for me is really satisfying as a leading bowler.
What would be that interaction or an instance that has top of the mind recall value that you will never forget that moment with Gary? Well, I won't hesitate to say this, that Gary is the only coach who has understood me well. He has given me freedom to express myself. He's understood the kind of space I like to get into, and I like to do certain things differently, and he's kind of given me freedom to achieve that. It's also a culmination of a lot of hard work when you get to the point where you wanted to. There are a lot of people who have attributed their success to a lot of people in their life. Is there anyone special in your life that you would like to attribute? Well, my parents, I think they've sacrificed enough in their lives. It's been amazing. How they've kind of supported me in all the decisions I've made, and that includes all the unorthodox ways also I have to go about my life. Can you say for sure that you were in absolute control of things, that Sahir Khan is maturing, is basically blossoming to the fullest? Well, I think I gained momentum at the right time. Like before the World Cup, if you look at 6 months prior to the World Cup, I was a bit concerned. My body was not responding the way it should be responding. I was not able to gain that momentum leading up to the World Cup. But in time, things fell into place. South Africa, I really
really needed to play a full series, which I played in South Africa. Just missed one test match. That's what was required for me. And once I played that, I knew that I got what I wanted. I just need to build on this.
If I were to ask you, of all the 21 wickets that you took, which one would you put right on the top in the context of that particular match?
One was definitely Strauss. It was a game-changing moment there, and I bowled a perfect Yorker there. I was very thrilled with that. The second, I would say Mike Hussey, because on that particular day, Ricky Ponting was playing really well. It was really important from the bowling unit to break that partnership, when Hussey came on to bat.
Almost all the eligible bachelor in the team, it was a cut-off date, World Cup, for them to, after that post which perhaps they were thinking to settle down. That also includes you. So, which way it is headed?
As I said, I'm basking in the glory of the World Cup right now. We are the champions. Just enjoying that. Haven't really thought about a lot of things, and as far as the cut-off date or anything that sort concerned, I've never really given it a thought. I'm enjoying my cricket. There are too many responsibilities on me, and let's see how things pan out.
And if you're wondering what could be the reason behind the new swanky haircut and the golden streak, rumour mills are rife that perhaps the wedding bells could soon be ringing for Zach. And who could perhaps be dancing on his wedding? Someone who's mastered the art of breakdance could perhaps well be in that ceremony, but for the moment he's happy breaking backs of the opposition with the ball. Srisanth here in a conversation with Swaroop Kar.
Yeah, Sri, what was your first reaction after Dhoni hit that winning six?
We actually, the moment he hit the middle of the bat, we knew it's a six, and nothing like winning a World Cup through six, and Dhoni Bhai is known for hitting sixes, and we were all excited, and we just ran to the field. I was not even wearing my shoes. I remember going to the podium to get the gold medal without my Chappell or shoes.
And Sachin broke into tears. How was it to see him in tears?
We were all in tears.
Obviously.
To see Sachin Paji, it was a happy tears and emotional, and it was a big thing for us. We wanted that cup for the last 3 years, and in fact from 2007 we were saying we should win it. And every meeting we had, it was more like when we play the finals in Wankhede Stadium. So everybody knew what we were supposed to do, and we were very emotional, yes. But seeing that happiness in Sachin Paji, and knowing him very personally and as a team member, and that is the only thing which he has never had in his belt. But now nobody in the world can say he's not the best cricketer. In fact, the way I call him is Master of the Universe, Jedi. So I think Jedi has no comparison. So he decides what to do. So cricket is equal to Sachin, I think, or Sachin is equal to cricket.
So a long gap of 28 years has come to an end, and India finally once again are the world champions. The title, which for the last 3 editions of the World Cup had been attached with the mighty Australians. But now when it's apparent that the Australian domination has come to an end, let's speak to someone who knows a thing or two about the country, former captain Ian Chappell, talking to us about the road ahead. Chappell, thank you so much for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. It appears to be that Ricky Ponting finally heard what you had to say about him giving up captaincy and Michael Clarke taking over the rebuilding phase. Do you reckon the first few steps taken in Australia's resurrection have been in the correct direction?
Well, when you've got basically a new team, or you're heading in that direction, there's no point in having an old captain. You've got to have a new captain to go with it. And I think Michael Clarke was the right bloke to take over. He's made a good start, but it's not how you start as a captain. It's how you progress. And I think Michael Clarke has an opportunity to be a good captain.
Chappell, would you say that the kind of role now Ricky Ponting should play is the one that Mahela Jayawardene played with Kumar Sangakkara with the Sri Lanka team, with all the captaincy experience that he's got? He should try and pass on the tricks of the trade to Michael Clarke and make sure that before he retires, Clarke knows just all the tricks about the trade.
No, I don't think that at all. I think in fact exactly the opposite. It's Michael Clarke's job now, and he should do it his own way. There's not much point in having Ricky Ponting resign as a captain and then be advising Michael Clarke. I mean, if Michael Clarke wants to know something from Ricky Ponting, he asks him. But pointless having the captain resign, and then you just get more of his style of captaincy if he's dictating the terms.
Chappell, it's been a while in Australia after a captain giving up captaincy, playing under another captain. What kind of a character does it talk about of Ricky Ponting?
Well, I mean, he's made the decision, so obviously he's happy with it. Now, he's obviously going to have to test the water. He may find that just being a player, after having all the responsibility of being captain, he might find that a bit dull and boring, and it could be that his interest in going on as a player wanes pretty quickly. But he may go the other way. He may enjoy doing it, just being a player and being a lot more relaxed without the responsibility. But he'll know pretty quickly which way it's going. He won't be able to tell after playing against Bangladesh because it wasn't a very testing series. But you've got Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, and then you've got South Africa coming up, and those two series will be really strong tests. And I think by the end of perhaps the South African series, Ricky Ponting will know if if there's still enough incentive there for him to go on as a player. But he'll know pretty quickly.
Thank you, Chappell, for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. Moving ahead, it's time to find out what's been happening on the rankings chart. Here's Kavyanath with all the latest from the Reliance ICC Test Rankings.
In the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for batsmen, two legends of the modern game, Sachin Tendulkar and Jacques Kallis, share the top honours with 883 rating points each. Sri Lanka's Kumar Sangakkara is just 1 point behind the Giants and could well be placed on top of the charts when Sri Lanka tour England early next month. With 826 ratings points, England's Jonathan Trott is on 4th spot, followed by teammate Alistair Cook on 5th. The Nawab of Najafgarh Virendra Sehwag is at number 6 with 719 rating points, while Mahela Jayawardene, Shivnarayan Chandrapal, VVS Lakshman and Thilan Samarveera hold the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th spots respectively. Bangladesh's Tamim Iqbal is at 19th place, is the lone player for his country to feature in the top 20 rankings. Meanwhile, South African speedster Dale Steyn rules the roost in the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for bowlers. England spinner Graham Swan and pacer James Anderson are at 2nd and 3rd spots respectively. Morne Morkel is placed 4th in the rankings, while India's Sahir Khan sits pretty at 5th place. Australia's left-arm fast bowler Mitchell Johnson occupies the 6th spot. India's go-to spinner Harbhajan Singh is stable on 7th place, while Bangladesh's Shakib Al Hasan is close behind at 8th. Former New Zealand skipper Daniel Vittori and England's Stuart Broad own the 9th and 10th spot respectively. In the Reliance Test Championship, India is sitting at the peak with 128 ratings points, while South Africa are 2nd with 117 points. England are just 2 points adrift of the Proteas and are placed 3rd. Meanwhile, 6 points separate England from Sri Lanka, who are currently at 4th place. One-time world dominators Australia are languishing at number 5, while Pakistan are placed 6th on the table. West Indies and New Zealand are on 7th and 8th respectively.
Well, with that, we've come to the end of what's been an exciting 15 minutes of ICC Cricket World. Just a quick update, the next show will bring you more from the Pepsi World Cricket League Division 2, where at the moment, it's the United Arab Emirates who've almost cemented their berth in the final. You can catch all the updates of the tournament on icc-cricket.com. With that, it's time for me, Jatin Sapru, to bid you goodbye with a promise. We'll see you again next week with 15 more exciting minutes of cricket on ICC Cricket World. Until then, it's goodbye.